Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to our Herbal Hour. So nice to see you. And Nicole is here, and she's going to give us a nice introduction to Reiki, and she's going to lead us through a a guided grounding. There you go, right? Guided grounding. Sorry. And so we'll go through the Herbal Hour first on the immune system, and then she'll take over and so for those of you that aren't familiar with Reiki, it's so calming and so relaxing. It's so great. And I've had a couple of sessions with Nicole and taken some of her classes. I didn't write your classes on the handout, so if you want to talk about like some of your dance and your circles and your sound stuff and all that, you know, I was going to do it and then I haven't had time. So if you want to tell everybody, but anyway, she's great. She's wonderful. Happy to have her be a part of the center. Okay, so tonight we're going to go over the immune system. It's funny, I just had a client here with autoimmune, and I was going to invite her to stay, but she's already been here for 3 hours. And I think she wanted to go home. So there we go. Okay, and all of you all know about me. So from the other classes. So there's all my information and the website, joyfullivingservices.com, the email if you want to reach me, and telephone numbers if you want to reach us. So once again, as always, thank you for being here. I know there's all kinds of things that you could be doing right now. Appreciate that you're here. And here's a nice picture of the immune system, the adenoids, the tonsils, the armpits, the lymph nodes in the armpits, the appendix, the bone marrow, neck and lymph nodes in the cervical region, thoracic duct connection to the bloodstream, the thymus gland, the spleen. Got Peyer's patches in the small intestine and the groin lymph nodes. And there's actually more lymph fluid in your body than there is blood, but nobody talks about that, right? Nobody checks that. So the immune system is very important, right? It's very important. Okay, so let me do what I always do and go over my disclaimer that Joyful Living Services cannot be held liable for any misuse or malpractice of any techniques taught within this webinar, nor for any injury, suffering, or distress caused by students undertaking the techniques discussed. All students must accept that they are wholly responsible for their actions relating to the practice of herbs and must adhere to the relevant laws in their country and state of residence. Students are responsible for ensuring that they have appropriate insurance or practicing in their country and state of residence. Joyful Living Services cannot be held responsible for any advice given by students to members of the public. Students must adhere to their local laws regarding the requirement for registration and or qualification as an herbalist before suggesting supplements or offering nutritional advice. So the immune system is the body's defense against germs, viruses, and other invaders. The thymus gland, which is right here, the thymus gland is there. The spleen is over on the left side. You know where your tonsils and adenoids are, lymph nodes, right, all over the place, along with a variety of white blood cells, all protect the body. Common immune system concerns include viruses, bacteria, fungus, cancer, fatigue, influenza, AIDS, and stress. And you can do a lot to keep your defenses strong and boost your immunity. And the first step, of course, is making good dietary choices. So in examining the immune system, prevention is number one. Okay, one of the best things to do is to prevent disease and disability, is to support your immune system. So the immune system consists of organs and processes, and the key structures are the thymus gland, the spleen, the tonsils, the adenoids, and lymph nodes, and the white blood cells. And I'm going to share some pictures in here for you from pictures that I've taken of live blood. So it should be a little interesting. Okay, so this system is unlike any other body system in that it is not a group of physical structures, right? Like the heart, the blood, or the glands, and all the other systems that we've gone over. Okay, but it's a system of complex interactions involving many different organs, structures, and substances. And these include the white blood cells, the bone marrow, lymphatic vessels and organs, specialized cells, specialized substances that are present in the blood. Okay, and for it to all work together, they all work together to protect the body against infection and disease. And let me tell you, almost every person I scan has viruses. Almost every person I scan has infection. Almost every person I scan has parasites and glyphosates and environmental toxicities and heavy metals and all kinds of stuff. And all of that affects the immune system. Yeah. So really important to stay strong. Okay, so the thymus gland, that plays a vital role in defending your body. It produces T cells, okay, special white blood cells called T lymphocytes. And this plays a role in creating cell-based immunity that protects you against fungi, viruses, bacteria, and yeast infection. So your body has approximately 1 million lymphocytes. Okay, so that is going to be right about here. And there is what's called the thymus thump. Raise your hand if you've heard of the thymus thump. You haven't heard of it, Wendy? Oh, I'm going to teach you the thymus thump. Okay, you get to be Tarzan now, all right? Okay, so you're going to thump right here. Go ahead, thump. I want to hear you thump, and I want you to go, ah. Be clinical, you got to do it loud. Okay, and you can even use two hands and go, ah. Okay, so you just stimulated your thymus gland. Okay, you just stimulated the thymus gland to produce T cells. So it's great to do in the shower. It's great, if you want to do in the shower and you can sing. When you want to be around, if you want to do it by yourself and not be around people while you're walking your dog, walking down the street and go, ah, people look like kind of crazy at you, right? But, every time you do that, it stimulates that thymus gland, okay? It's called the thymus thump. Actually, the lady that just left here is going home to do the thymus thump. Okay, so look there are some T cells invading tumors here. So the immune system helps protect us from malignancies, and we all are very familiar with that, huh? Tumor cells are always present in our bodies in small numbers, and it's the healthy immune system that recognizes and destroys tumor cells. So when a person develops cancer, the immune function has failed to provide the body with protection. So for some reason other than what people know, the body doesn't recognize malignant cells and they're allowed to reproduce. So the body's immune system has several jobs, right? One is to detect, one is to repair, one is to destroy and replace. So the first thing it's supposed to do is go out there and look and see if there's any cells that aren't doing what they're supposed to do. Some cells that are, that shouldn't be there, they're not doing what they're supposed to do. Okay, so it goes around, and actually it was amazing to watch this with the live blood. It was really cool. That was my favorite part of doing live blood, is watching the white blood cells. And Josephine, my daughter, go munchy, munchy, munchy. She'd say they munchy, munchy, munchy. And we saw the white blood cells go around the red blood cells and actually eat. It was amazing. It would just like take them in. Okay, so it's supposed to first detect, and that's when it's going around all those cells. Then if it finds something, it's supposed to either repair it or destroy it. If it can repair the cells, fine. If not, it's supposed to destroy it, and that's called apoptosis. Okay, and then if it destroys them, then it has to replace. And that's where cancer comes in, is that it doesn't recognize and doesn't destroy the cells. Therefore, it can just grow. So here's some pictures of some lymphocytes. You have, these are killer cells, these are B cells, and these are T cells. So when you just now did the thymus thump, you just released T cells. Okay, here's your B cells, and here is your killer cells. So after puberty, the thymus gland begins to shrink. And by the time you're 40 or 50, it's really small. So that thymus thump really helps. And it's believed to be a source of hormones involved in the creation of these T lymphocytes. It's crucial that we supplement our diets to nourish and build the gland. And this includes vitamin C with bioflavonoids, selenium, vitamin E, beta carotene, zinc, alpha lipoic acid. And as we get older, a lot of people become zinc deficient. And this may be explain why elderly people can become more susceptible to disease. Okay, so herbs that support the thymus include astragalus, echinacea, and my favorite, hadarko. Okay, so those are some of the three that are really great.
What were you saying the B cells do or identified as? You said they were killer cells, and then you had the
the killer cells, the B cells, and the T cells. I haven't gone over these yet. Okay. Okay, so the lymphatic system, this includes the tonsils, the adenoids, the lymph nodes. Okay, this is responsible for collecting lymph fluid and draining waste from the tissues. So for those of you that are like me that had your tonsils removed when you're a kid, the tonsils are there to absorb, right? To absorb and collect and absorb the waste, okay, from your tissues. And if those tonsils are removed, then everything can go right down to the bronchioles and the lungs. You no longer have that lymph there, okay? The fluid needs to be purified by the white blood cells, which destroy infections, kill microorganisms, and remove cellular waste. Okay? Our lymph nodes also help produce armies of antibodies, which are special cells designed to kill specific organisms. Those are your NK cells. And then herbs such as ginseng, golden seal, echinacea, they help support and cleanse the lymphatic system. Exercise and lymphatic massage is really good for the lymph. And here you can see there's cervical lymph here in the cervical region. Okay, you've got the axillary lymph nodes here. You have the cisterna. I'm not sure how to say that word. The inguinal lymph nodes here in the groin. You have lymph nodes here in the shoulders, the spleen, the mesenteric lymph nodes here, and you also have lymph nodes here. So lots and lots and lots of lymph. And the only way to move the lymph is to bend, right? Is to bend and exercise. Really great way to stimulate the lymph, lymphatic massage, but also rebounding, saunas, you know, movement.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of elderly people that are sitting all the time, the best thing they can do is just circular motions, you know, raise their arms, bend their elbows, bend their knees, right? Movement. Because you don't have, for your circulatory system, you have your heart, but you don't have anything to pump the lymph. Yeah. Yep. Okay, so the body's defense mechanisms are complex. Here you can see there's neutrophils, basophils, eosinophils, monocytes, plasma cells, T lymphocytes, and NK, which is natural killer cells. So we used to see these a lot with the live blood. In some cases, a virus must penetrate several lines of defense in order to cause a problem. So our defenses include the skin, right? That's number one, right? That protects our whole body. Okay, mucus layers covering infection susceptible tissues. White blood cells, which are called leukocytes, and interferon. Okay, leukocytes are divided into two classes, okay, called granulocytes and agranulocytes. And these two classes are further divided into smaller groups. So here's the granulocytes, which is the neutrophils, the basophils, and the eosinophils. And then the agranulocytes, those are the monocytes, the plasma cells, the T lymphocytes, and the NK cells. Okay. Here's some more pictures from my live blood. So here we have hypersegmented neutrophils. And this is a cell that has multiple segments. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is an immature neutrophil. So this is a double here. Here we have basophils. And here we have 2 eosinophils. They kind of look like a horseshoe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so granulocytes are phagocytic, which means they have the ability to ingest. That's like the one that we saw running around in the bloods. Okay, so they ingest particulate substances. Granulocytes, these include the juvenile neutrophils, which they call it juvenile, we call it immature, and that's these here. Segmented neutrophils, which are here, basophils and eosinophils. And neutrophils, which are these two here, they neutralize bacteria and small particles by ingesting them. Like Josephine said, munchy, munchy, munchy. Okay, and basophils, they're believed to deliver anticoagulants to facilitate blood clot absorption. And eosinophils, this has to do with usually allergies, asthma, infections, and things like that. Okay. Here's some more. These are monocytes, both of these. This is a monocyte. This is a monocyte. Here we have lymphocytes, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so the I know I'm pronouncing this wrong, granulocytes, these include monocytes. So there's microcytes and monocytes. Okay, and large and small lymphocytes. So monocytes can ingest large particles, okay, such as foreign proteins and peptides, while lymphocytes, they produce antibodies and are critical to cellular immunity. And that's what they look like. These, by the way, are little parasites right here. They look like little eyes inside the cells. And in the UK, so the class that I took was in the UK, you're not allowed to tell somebody they have parasites. But what you can say is that their cells are parasiticized. It means the same thing, but it's just the different words that we can use. Okay, so yeah, just the different words.
Someone was talking to me about, or I saw a video where it might have been a medical professional. He was mentioning labs. So some people can may be able to tell through their labs by looking at their eosinophils, I believe, or the neutrophils, and they'll have like a complete panel, and sometimes I'll check those. And if your eosinophils, I believe, look out of range, that could indicate parasites. And I didn't know that. I was like, oh, okay. Because sometimes they're not allowed to say that, but somebody who's reading a blood test, if you have a panel and everything else is showing okay, but your eosinophils or your neutrophils, all those ones that we're looking at right now are off, that might indicate some type of parasite within the body.
You can also see, you're not supposed to say it, but in the sclera of your eye, if somebody has something that looks curvy like this, kind of wraps around itself in the sclera, like in the white part of the eye, that can indicate fungus. Not necessarily parasites, but it can indicate fungus or the possibility of infection.
As soon as you gave me the shape, I was like, oh, like a ringworm.
It's usually kind of curved in like itself, like it looks funny. It stands out. And then, running the scan, then we can confirm if there is anything. Okay, interferon. So interferon is a protein that forms when cells are exposed to viruses. There's all kinds of viruses floating around, right? Hi, Mel. The last one, of course, that we all know about was COVID, yeah? But there's lots of viruses that we're constantly coming in contact with. Uninfected cells will become immune to the virus when it's exposed to interferon. And interferon exhibits a virus's ability to reproduce. So the normal process is the virus, comes up, right? And you're exposed to it, and then your immune system recognizes it and fights it. Yeah. That is the normal way that we deal with viruses. Okay, if the body's ability to properly produce interferon or leukocytes is impaired, there's your monocytes, your lymphocytes, your basophils, eosinophils, and neutrophils. If it's impaired, invading disease-producing microorganisms may successfully challenge the health of the body. I found that interesting, the way that was written. Weakening of the immune system results in increased susceptibility to virtually every type of illness. And some include fatigue, listlessness, repeated infections, inflammation, allergic reactions, slow wound healing, chronic diarrhea, infections that represent overgrowth of some normally present organism, such as oral thrush or yeast infections, right? So how many people do you know that have allergic reactions right now? How many people do you know that, yeah, how many people do you know that have inflammation in their body? Like everybody. How many people do you know that have fatigue? You know, slow wound healing, especially when people get older. Chronic diarrhea, you know, lots of people with IBS and bowel, you know, irritable bowel, infections of all different kinds, oral thrush, yeast infections, candida, you know, lots going on. So the human immune system is functional at birth. Immunity, though, really develops as the body matures and learns to defend itself against different foreign invaders called antigens. And that's where there was so much controversy around COVID, because the normal way that you form antibodies to viruses is that you come in contact with the virus, your immune system recognizes it, and then you create these antibodies that you can fight it the next time you come in contact with it. With the normal vaccines, if you get a vaccine, it enters the body, the immune system then recognizes it, creates antibodies to it, right? And so then you become immune to it. With the COVID vaccine, it was changed into a different form, injected into the body. It then went to all the cells automatically. Okay, sort of like a liposome. That's how liposomes and homeopathy and all those things work. When you take them, they go directly into the body, into all the cells. They bypass everything so that they work quickly. Okay, where with COVID vaccine, it went directly into all the cells. So the immune system didn't go through its regular process of recognizing and creating the antigens. So it's, you know, it's very important. The immune system has to grow, it has to build, it has to develop. It has to be able to recognize these things and develop and grow and develop. So for people that didn't get vaccinated and got COVID, or even people that did get vaccinated and got COVID, their immune system still did what it needed to do. It still learned and defended itself in the way that it could and created those antibodies. Okay, so the immune system has the ability to learn to identify, remember specific antigens that it has encountered. It does this through two basic means, what's called cell-mediated immunity and humoral immunity. Okay, so cell-mediated immunity. The T lymphocytes, or T cells, they identify and destroy cancerous cells, viruses, microorganisms like bacteria and fungi. Okay, these cells mature in the thymus right here, which is why the thymus thump is so important. Okay, because it's about this size right now. Okay, the cells mature in the thymus gland, hence the T designation. So T lymphocytes, or T cells. Okay, here they learn to recognize what is self and therefore should be tolerated, and what is non-self and therefore should be destroyed. So you don't want to destroy yourself, you want to destroy other things, those cancerous cells, viruses, microorganisms, bacteria, and fungi. There's your killer T cell right there. There's the infected cell. And then they have memory. There's that memory T cell. Okay, so they can remember. Then there's the humoral immunity, okay? And the humoral immunity involves the production of antibodies. And these are not cells, but special proteins whose chemical structures form to match the surfaces of specific antigens. So antibodies concentrate in body fluids, such as your tears and your saliva and mucus, okay, where they guard the entrances to the body. Okay, when they encounter specific antigens, antibodies either damage the invasive cells or alert the leukocytes to attack. Okay, so if you have cuts on your fingers, on your body, those are other ways that bacteria obviously can get into your body, then these protect you. This is a really cool picture. Look at that. Okay, that's a B lymphocyte. Okay, another group of white blood cells is called B lymphocytes. These are manufactured by and matured in the bone marrow, and they produce the antibodies. Okay, so when one of these B lymphocytes meets an antigen, it engineers an antibody to match the antigen, and it stores a blueprint of the invader so it can initiate the production of antibodies in the case of any further exposure. In other words, it meets it and greets it, matches it, and remembers it so that if it comes up again, it knows. It knows. All right, so immunity boosters. So what can you do to help improve your immune system? Okay, vitamin A, vitamin C, B6, minerals such as magnesium, selenium, zinc. I'll tell you, liposomal D and liposomal C for immune. So if you know anybody with autoimmune, okay, autoimmune, liposomal D, liposomal C, and colostrum. Those three things for anybody that you know that has autoimmune. Because the immune system is created in the gut, okay? And the colostrum is for the gut. And the liposomal C and the liposomal D, those help to regulate the immune system and help to just kind of calm everything down and balance it. So most people fail to get the RDA levels of those nutrients in their diet. And so supplementing is really important. Okay, so that vitamin C has antiviral properties and has been proven successful about against most viruses. But there again, the liposomal is the best. Zinc has also been linked to the body's ability to resist viruses.
Zinc is so hard. It's so hard to taste.
Yeah, I love this. I love this chart here. Balanced immune system. We have internal threats and external threats. So your internal threats here, we have autoimmune, right? Hashimoto's, thyroiditis, rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, inflammatory bowel disease, type 1 diabetes. Okay, this is when the immune system, this is an immune overreaction. And here, an external threat is an allergic reaction, such as food sensitivities, allergies, eczema, asthma, sinusitis. This is external. And these are both when there's an overreaction of the immune system, internal and external. Okay, then down here, we have an underreaction of the immune system. So underreaction, an internal threat is cancer, hepatitis, HIV, shingles, tuberculosis. When it's an external threat and there's an underreaction, it's infection, such as bacteria, molds and fungus, parasites, and viruses. Very interesting. So when you're working with people, you want to know the difference. Is it internal? Is it external? And then the other thing is it an overreaction or an underreaction? Okay, so of course in the middle is you've got the balanced and the optimal effectiveness. So, when you have an underreaction, you want to work at helping the immune system react to those things, right? And an infection, you want to help the body fight those infections and that bacteria and get rid of that mold and fungus and parasites and viruses. Yeah, same here, but these are an overreaction. So you have to calm everything down and balance everything. It's very interesting. Okay, if you have 4 or more of the following, you may consider nutritional aid to the structural system. Let's see how many people you can think of that have all of the above. Lack of energy, illness more than twice a year, difficulty digesting certain foods, food allergies, recent or frequent use of antibiotics, poor resistance to disease, belching or gas after meals, stressful lifestyle. Well, I think I can think about like 99.999% of people have a stressful lifestyle. Sore or painful joints, difficulty in maintaining ideal weight, slow recovery from illness, exposure to air pollution, especially with fires, right? Now we're going into fire season, feeling out of control, food and chemical sensitivities, and recurrent yeast or fungal infections. Okay, so if you know somebody that has 4 or more of those indications, they may need some help. Oh, and I missed this. It's not supposed to say structural system. Cross that out, put immune system there. Just saw that, I missed that. So how can you boost the immune system? Eat fruits and vegetables, look into herbs and supplements, get a good night's sleep, limit alcohol, quit smoking, exercise more often, revitalize your hygiene habits. Okay, so reduce stress, eat lots of fruits and vegetables, eat adequate complete proteins, avoid simple sugars, get adequate sleep and exercise. It all makes sense, right? It's not like anything is really a big surprise. But you know, a lot of people I think are paying for what they did when they were young.
Yeah.
You know, high school, just out of high school, doing a lot of drugs, doing a lot of smoking, doing a lot of drinking, you know, staying up all night, not sleeping, you know, burning a candle at both ends. And now that people are getting, you know, 30s, 40s, and 50s, you know, things are kind of starting to slow down a little bit. They're starting to show with some autoimmune and some of these health problems. And, you know, it's going back to liver health, you know, that liver controls so many functions in the body. Okay, here's some generic products that can be used for the immune system. Immune defense combinations, garlic, colloidal silver, anything with the eyes, especially anything with the eyes, you can put colloidal silver in there. Somebody has allergies, somebody has burning eyes, any kind of infections, somebody has a sore throat. Colloidal silver is amazing. Okay, echinacea, great for infections, colds, great before, you know, as soon as you start feeling it. And of course, you can do mouthwashes and gargles and all with all this stuff. Olive leaf, great for any of these things. Olive leaf is really great for COVID, any of these bacterial, viral attacks, good blood pressure, cholesterol, and so on. Okay, so these are all great. Virus combinations, Unadigato, really good. Elderberry combinations, great for kids too. Zinc lozenges or zinc by itself. Podarco, great for, you know, some people, echinacea works really good. Other people, like for me, it doesn't. So I use Podarco, it works great for me. My husband's the opposite. So Podarco doesn't really work for him, but echinacea does. So we have both. So, you know, so you have to kind of see what works for you. And the key there is just getting it right when it starts. Bifidophilus, really important for the bowels. Immune trigger combinations, stimulator combinations, antioxidants, really, really important. There's all kinds of antioxidant combinations out there, liquids and pills and combos, all kinds of things with antioxidants. Okay, so here's some flow charts. And remember that these were created originally by Stephen Horn, and they've been edited multiple times. So here we have thymus, lymph, and spleen. And this is when there's immune weakness, which is considered cold. So we have lowered resistance and we have free radical damage. So with lowered resistance, the indications are constant fatigue, pale complexion, cold limbs, frequent cold, and or infections, digestive weakness. Things that can be used would be immune trigger combinations, stimulator combinations, seasonal defense combinations if they have allergies, noni juice, and these are all the oils: cypress, thieves, exodus, immune power, and frankincense. For free radical damage, indications would be exposure to environmental pollution. All you have to do is go outside, right? Okay, exposure to environmental pollution,
Mhm.
chronic stress, aging, risk of degenerative diseases, poor diet. Hello, Emily. Respiratory allergies and infections. Okay, so these are from free radicals. Things that can be used, antioxidant combinations, grapevine, and then these are some of the oils, cypress, thieves, exodus, power, and there again, frankincense.
Only
So
some-
sacred frankincense is not the same as frankincense.
What does it sound like?
I don't think it's exactly the same, no. And you know, Kathy's the one that told me to use these.
Oh.
So now I do know that frankincense on skin cancer, it gets rid of it. So I'm not sure. These are what's the name of the company?
Young Living.
Thank you. Yes, these are Young Living
Oh,
oils.
okay.
This is what Kathy works with is Young Living. So
That stuff is good. It's clean.
Yeah. Just these, or I've only seen it as a cleaning product. I use it as a cleaning product. So I didn't know it was one you could.
it can be used topically. Yeah. 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 So you'd have to, I guess the answer is you'd have to compare
Yeah.
their sacred frankincense from just, you know, another company's frankincense and see if it's the same.
Right.
I imagine that this is a combo.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. So thymus, lymph, and spleen, we've got infection, which would be hot. General indications would be general weakness or fatigue, recurring infections, acute infections, exposure to infectious agents, and enlarged lymph nodes. So there's two types here. There's bacterial and fungal. If it's bacterial, then you need a medical diagnosis of a bacterial infection such as staph or strep. Okay. If it's fungal, then that could be from frequent antibiotic use. There could be vaginal yeast infections, general weakness, medical diagnosis of yeast or fungal infection. So with infections, we usually go to echinacea and olive leaf and then just determine if it's viral. If it's fungal, we'll usually go down here and use podarco, colloidal silver, bifidophilus. There's yeast fungal homeopathics. Pawpaw cell reg, that's only for cancer. Okay. It acts like a natural chemo, but doesn't have the side effects of chemo. So once we go and decide if echinacea or olive leaf are better or both, then if it's viral, there's either going to go into chronic or acute. If it's chronic, there's usually a medical diagnosis of a viral infection such as herpes, Epstein-Barr, there's others as well. And then there's virus Chinese combinations, Una de Gato, and then these are the oils, Power, Thieves, Melrose, and Longevity. If it's an acute infection, that would be something like the common cold or influenza. And then we go into things like elderberry and zinc lozenges as seasonal defense things, and Power, Thieves, Melrose, and Longevity. Okay, so those are some things. These little flow charts work really, really well. It makes it easy, you know, to figure out which way to go with, you know, with clients, and always muscle test or always use a scanner to figure out or use a pendulum. I have quite a few clients that come in with their pendulums and they'll use the pendulums, you know, to check things. So always double check things and make sure with some type of other testing what will work. Remember that as an herbalist, you're not a doctor. There's no prescribing, there's no diagnosing. So you can't say, oh, you have an infection, so I think you should take 6 podarco per day. You know, that's basically diagnosing and prescribing. So you've got to be careful. And on to iridology, my favorite subject. Okay, so this is a lymphatic, we used to call this a lymphatic rosary. It's these dots here. So this is the lymphatic system right here. This is the lymph in here. Usually this is zone 6. And it's called the lymph. We used to call it a lymphatic rosary because that's what it looks like. It looks like, if you think of a rosary, it looks like a string of pearls. Each one is called a tophi, and this also is called flocculations. And sometimes they will move around. Sometimes they'll be in here closer. Sometimes they'll be out. So for those of you that don't know about iridology, this part here, this is the digestive system, and out here are all the organs. And so here is the lymph, and then the skin is out here. So whenever we see these, it usually has to do with the possibility of lymphatic stagnation. And so things like what I talked about before, lymphatic massage and saunas and rebounding and walking and, lymphatic stimulation or drainage, all of those things are very helpful. And this is all genetic. So when we're looking at the eyes, this is genetic, and these are tendencies. So just because we see this in the eye doesn't mean that this person actually has a problem, that they have lymphatic, that they have any kind of immune or lymphatic issues. Okay. Oh, now we're here just in time for Nicole. So I'm going to introduce Nicole to you. Her company's name is Radiant Love and Light, and she's a community-oriented certified Reiki practitioner and master teacher. She's dedicated to making holistic medicine affordable and accessible to everyone. Her goal is to help you in an individualized way to heal and grow on your personal journey and to create empowerment and transformation in your daily life. And you and Nicole can accomplish this together through ancient energy practices known as the Usui method of natural healing. It's known to provide peace, clarity, and comfort. And I can tell you that I've gone to Nicole when I've been like, my energy's been like all over the place. And I'm just tell her, okay, I just need to come back in and relax and just come back into myself. And I have a session with her, and then I get up and I'm like, oh, I feel so much better, so relieved and relaxed and centered and grounded, and it's great. So Reiki is great for. Do you want to say anything here, or do you want me to keep talking?
You can keep talking. I'll talk next.
Okay, so during a session, you can feel waves of subtle energy moving through your body. Some people could experience heat or coolness from the hands of the practitioner. You could see colors and visions. I have seen, different things in my mind, including my spirit animal, which has been really amazing. And which, I'm also a Reiki master. And so that my spirit animal came to me when I got certified as a Reiki master. So her sessions can include healing past traumas, emotional wounds that are held in the body, releasing emotions through crying, breath work, toning, clearing and extraction of energetic blockages. She uses sage a lot here, smoke or spray, centering and rebalancing of the chakra systems, and she uses crystals. So there's an email for her, for Nicole, and also her phone number if you want to reach her after the presentation to talk to her. Okay, how's that? Is that good?
Perfect.
Okay, I'm going to go on now, and I've got your slides here. So you just let me know when you want me to move through for you.
Okay. It looks like we're doing the Reiki before the grounding. So that's good to know.
Is that okay?
So thank you so much, Brenda, for having me. I really appreciate it. And I learned a lot and really enjoyed your presentation. So thank you very much. Like Brenda said, I am a Reiki master teacher. I am also a certified presenter for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, as well as an event coordinator, organization specialist, artist, and mother. I live here in Auburn, California, and it's such an honor to be sharing Reiki with everyone here today. So For the hands that I can see, has anyone or received Reiki before?
Yes, I've had it done.
Okay. Awesome. Yay, cool. Okay, so we got some familiarity then. Well, then this is basically just a very brief overview. Brenda, if you want to take it to the next slide. So Reiki for me, when I experienced it, it was like a remembering or like a knowing. I received Reiki for probably over a decade before I actually started practicing it. But I received so many benefits that I just felt very inspired to just share it with anyone and everyone. Brenda? So all of you probably already know since you've had Reiki before, but it's a technique for activating, restoring, and balancing natural energy. Reiki is the essence of balance and harmony found throughout nature. It can be very restorative. It can balance and align the energy in our bodies, overall making us healthier and happier in our existence. It's a way for us to synchronize and energize our vital medians throughout our body, and then just creating that balance in our centers. It's a way for consistent and vital means of relieving stress, tension, and hypertension. It releases in a controlled manner the accumulated stress and tension acquired in our day-to-day lives and activities. So it helps prevent the deepening of it. Next slide. And then this is my beautiful daughter as my model. And this is what Reiki can look like. It kind of looks like the laying on of hands, but you can actually accomplish everything in a person's auric field. You don't actually have to touch anyone. Next slide. And then a few things about what Reiki is not. Reiki is not a dogma or a specific doctrine or belief. Reiki encompasses and embraces all doctrines and dogmas, and gently brings more light to the understanding of the mind, peace of the emotions, and ecstasy to the spirit. The continuing use of Reiki will gently expand the mind and open a wider vista of understanding in a loving, gentle, non-threatening way. Reiki is not taught by just anyone. You do need to be certified. There's different levels, Reiki level 1, 2, and 3. Reiki level 3 is the master teacher class. And I usually say like Reiki level 1, that's if you want to do Reiki on yourself. Reiki level 2 is if you want to start expanding to your family and friends. And then Reiki 3 is if you want to turn it into a business, or if you just want to work on others. And then Reiki is not limited to select few. So Reiki is good for everyone and anyone, no matter your age or race. And it's also good at basically any time. There's no bad time to do Reiki. Next slide. Okay. So here we have a list of all of our energy centers. And if you would like to join me in a brief healing, if you have the ability, if you're in a safe space, not driving or anything, I would like to invite you to join me. So if you'd like to place your hands in prayer position, Gasho, and you can create a soft gaze, or you can close your eyes if you'd like. And I'll go ahead and call in our guides and our angels and our allies and our ascended masters in assistance for this healing for each of us today, asking only for our highest good. Now you can go ahead and hold your palms up and out towards the screen. And I'm going to go ahead and just send everybody a brief Reiki healing attunement. Okay. And now go ahead and place your hands together and rub them together. Build up that energy. And then once you feel like you've built up a good amount of energy, go ahead and place your hands just about an inch or two apart. And just tap into that area in between your palms. You can move your hands further and closer together. Maybe you sense the heat or the tingling. Just taking a moment just to play with that energy. While you do that, go ahead and identify anywhere in your body. It can be any of these chakra centers that I have listed, or it can be anywhere in your body. We're going to go ahead and place our hands on that area. And while you do that, go ahead and just take some deep breaths in through your nose and exhaling out through your mouth. You can place your hands directly on the area of tension, or you can hover over it. There is really no wrong way. Just breathing into that area. Maybe visualizing a softening. And then breathing in through the nose and exhaling out through the mouth. If you feel called to change positions or move to a different area, just follow that intuition. One last deep breath. And then placing our hands back in Gasho prayer position. And just taking a moment of gratitude for this exercise. Welcome to open your eyes when you feel ready. We can move to the next slide. I think we're missing one, but that's okay. We'll roll with it. So we're
I
gonna
put that at the end.
at the end. Oh, okay. That totally works. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and move into the energy grounding. So grounding is known to provide support and balance to the energetic body. And by a show of hands, has anyone done a grounding exercise before? Awesome. Great. Okay. Next slide, please. So this is another visualization exercise. So some tips for when you're doing your grounding exercises, just trying to be in a quiet place, maybe having some water or some tea nearby. And then I also will often get inspired to write a little something down in my journal of feelings that have come up. So, okay, so we're going to go ahead and take some deep breaths, 3 deep breaths, in through the nose, exhaling out through the mouth. And as you're breathing, go ahead and begin to visualize golden healing light hovering just above your head, your crown chakra. Next slide.
Hard to do that one after moving the slides.
Okay, so this light is entering your crown and it's swirling down and into your forehead, your third eye. This healing light is moving down now into your throat, and it's clearing away any energy that does not serve you. If you feel called to move your hands through your energy system as I move you through it, I invite you to please do so. Now visualizing this golden healing light moving from the throat and down into the heart space. Just really tapping into the heart and feeling that warmth and that healing that this light brings. We're expanding this light out beyond our body at the same time. And we're helping this with our breath. So deep breath. This warm golden healing light is now moving into the solar plexus just underneath the breastbone, the area just above your stomach. And this energy center is soaking up all of this healing light and moving into all of our cells and our molecules. And now bringing this light down further around the belly button. This is your sacral. Just allowing the sacral to be filled up with light. Deep breath. Visualizing this light expanding further down into the root at the base of the spine. And then shining this light throughout the rest of the body, into the legs and the hips, and down past your knees and your ankles, and into your feet. And as this light hits your feet, begin to imagine that you have roots like the roots of a tree, growing from the bottom of your feet and moving down through the floor and the foundation and into the earth. These roots are moving wide and growing deep, and they are moving down through the crystals and the minerals, down through the creepy crawlies and the aquifer. These roots are moving down, down, down until they reach the vibrant core of the earth. Wrapping around this vibrant core of the earth, go ahead and visualize a crystal, any crystal you'd like, any size you want it to be. And this crystal is emanating light. And the light from this crystal, with your roots wrapped all around it, is now shining up through this root system that you've just created. Up, 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 up. And encompassing your whole body. Next slide. Go ahead and take a deep breath here, in through your nose and out through your mouth. Next slide. You may begin to bring your awareness back to the Zoom, wiggling your fingers and your toes and opening your eyes. Congratulations, you've just finished your energy grounding exercise. I definitely encourage everyone to do this daily or as you see fit. If you're in a mood or if you're stressed, just visualizing those roots going down into the earth can really make such a big difference. And if you can get outside with some bare feet, that is also another excellent way to ground yourself. But not everybody has access to go out to their lawn. I know, like me, I live in an apartment, so I will not be placing my bare feet on the area where all of the puppy dogs go. So, but yeah, so thank you so much for doing this with me. I'm absolutely honored to share this space. So much gratitude to all of you. And if you'd like to get a hold of me, here's all of my contact information. You can follow me on Instagram or Facebook, and that's my phone number. Feel free to text if you have any questions. I do Reiki in person and online. So thank you again, Brenda, for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you, Nicole. Thank you for your time and being willing to be a part of this and introducing yourself and leading us through the Reiki. And I guess the grounding should have gone first, huh?
Yeah, but you know, I guess it just wasn't meant to be that way today, right? We're just gonna go with the flow and
Yeah, that's kind of how life is, right? Go with the
yeah,
flow.
exactly.
Okay, so if you guys want to reach out to her, there's her information. And I definitely can recommend Nicole. She's really great. Okay, so I also want to thank you for being here. Here is the next upcoming Herbal Hour. It's going to be on July 2nd, so mark your calendars from 5 to 6. It's going to be on common ailments and the historical uses of herbs. Okay, and just let everybody know it's available if you want to bring friends or anybody and let them know.
I
Okay.
got an appointment that day because I'll be going to Atlanta, so I won't be, but I'll have, when you record it, I'll be good.
Oh, it'll all be recorded. No
Okay.
problem. As
I
usual.
got one question before you go. If a person wants to know their blood type, because I have a client and she doesn't know hers, and I told her that they usually have a test like on Amazon, but if she want to get it done at a lab, would it be some lab that you know that I could point her to?
You can try Ulta Labs.
Okay.
Yeah, you can try Ulta Labs, but does she have a doctor? Because she can ask her doctor to
She
do a
said
blood
they
type.
wouldn't do it. They wouldn't give her, they wouldn't test it when she had
And it's
blood.
not in her files. It's not in you know, she should already be typed. If she's ever given blood or had a blood type, she should be typed. It should be in her. She should be able to go to her medical records and be able to find out her blood type.
I'll ask her because I'll ask her again. I'll see her Saturday.
Yeah.
Nowadays, they're not reporting it at all unless you've had, like, I had to request that from all my children.
You had to request it?
They don't give the hospitals, I guess, 20, 30 years or probably more than that. They stopped documenting that unless the mother was a different blood type, like say she was O, then they would try to figure out what the baby is, or if you're having a complication and then you're needing the blood. That's the only way they're verifying anybody's blood.
Yeah, it'd be good to know, especially if you're going to put somebody on a blood type diet, you know. So I use Ulta Labs, and you have to be a naturopath to be able to use them. Let me show you my code, and then you can get.
I know Quest Diagnostics might do it, but I'm not sure how much their payments are.
Yeah, all
we have
the labs
it.
can do it, it's just that you're gonna have to pay the fee. The nice thing about Ulta Labs is that the fee is like half the
Cheap.
fee is
Mm.
if you had gone in person. So, let's see, I don't know if I can show it to you.
I was gonna say, can you take a picture with your phone and send, is that the phone one?
There it is. Okay,
Okay.
ultalabtest.com / Joyful Living Services.
ULTA lab test
Bye, Nicole.
Hi,
Thank you.
thank you.
joyful. living. Okay.
ultalabtest.com / Joyful Living Services. And you can order any lab tests off of that.
Mm.
You know, if you want to know,
Okay.
if you want to know for a client or for yourself, let's say you're working on your cholesterol and it's been 3 months and you want to know how your cholesterol is, you can go ahead. That's my account. You can just order from my account, or I can order it, whatever, they've got all kinds of, and they have really good customer service.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And she
So,
would just go there because I know mine when I was first pregnant with my youngest daughter. My oldest daughter, and they told me mine was A+, and I just remembered it. So I knew about mine when I was pregnant. That's how I found.
yeah. You
Yeah, I
can,
can have her do that because I told her that you probably have a place. Because sometimes people hear when they're like, why you need to know that if it's not medical, something wrong with you. They don't want to cover the insurance and it's just tricky.
yeah. Okay, bye, Wendy. Have a good night.
Bye.
Okay,
All righty then.
anything else?
No, that's probably it. Mm. No, that's it for now. I'll email you.
I know I'll hear from you.
You better
All
know.
right.
All righty. Have a good night.
Okay, I hope that
Thank you again. And
everybody
make
has
sure
a great night.
you're going to open it up so I can be taking my test tomorrow with my downtime.
I will open it as soon as I can.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
Okay,
Thank you.
good night. Bye,
Bye.
Emily.